The flashbulbs erupt like gunfire, each click slicing through the tension. Her fingers tremble, but her stare? Ice cold. "I did what I had to do," Wendy breathes, her words barely surviving the roar of reporters clawing for answers. That single confession detonated across the internet like a bomb. Within hours, social media burned alive, #WendySpeaks, #EdwardExposed, echoing her name like a haunting chant. Then came the leak. A 12-second clip, raw and shaky, pulled from what looked like a private, off-the-record conversation. Twice, her voice cracks. It wasn't love anymore. It was survival. The world froze. What was she running from? Or who? Behind every flawless red carpet appearance and carefully filtered family portrait was a storm waiting to break. The subtle wince when his name was mentioned. The forced laughter that never reached her eyes. And that one unforgettable night when Wendy walked out of their perfect mansion and vanished into the darkness, leaving everything behind, except the truth she was finally ready to tell. Viewers replay the footage, frame by frame, zooming in on every blink, every tear, every twitch in her jaw. They're searching for a secret hiding behind her calm. And for the first time, Wendy is ready to break the silence, to tell the world why the fairy tale ended and what discovery made her sign those papers without looking back. But what followed flipped her entire world upside down. Before the storm, everything looked golden. Wendy and Edward Osefo, the couple every magazine called Black Royalty. The professor and the strategist. Brains and charm in one polished package. Every image painted perfection, coordinated outfits, radiant smiles, private jets, luxury getaways. They were living proof that love and ambition could coexist. But the camera only captures what you want it to see. The internet called them unbreakable. She, the voice of strength. He, the architect of quiet influence. Together, they looked like destiny in motion. But behind that symmetry was tension, subtle, silent, and growing. It started as whispers, missed calls, delayed replies. The laughter that once filled rooms began to fade into long, uneasy pauses. Then, one night, while scrolling through her phone, Wendy's world cracked open, a message from a contact saved only as L. It wasn't explicit. It didn't need to be. Just 4 words that changed everything. "I wish you were here." The house went still. When she confronted him, Edward didn't flinch. A calm smile, a perfectly rehearsed tone. "It's work, Wendy. Don't twist it." But the ease in his voice, too measured, too smooth, sent chills down her spine. That's when she knew. Something was wrong. Still, the performance continued. Red carpets, talk shows, couple panels. Except now, every camera flash felt like a lightning strike exposing their lie. Weeks turned into months. Edward's consulting trips became routine. Wendy poured herself into work, raising their children, wearing her smile like armor. On podcasts, she spoke about redefining trust, and fans applauded her honesty, not realizing those words weren't motivation. They were a warning. A quiet cry from a woman living in the ruins of her own perfect image. But nothing hit harder than that dinner party. The air smelled like roses and expensive wine, yet every laugh felt rehearsed, every smile a mask. Then came the question that shattered the illusion, so, how's Edward's new project going? Wendy's fork froze midair. New project? She hadn't heard a word about it. Edward's grin never faltered. "Oh, that? Just something early stage, babe. I'll fill you in later." He leaned in, kissed her cheek, and the room melted into applause. But behind that performative affection, Wendy heard it, a whisper slicing through her thoughts like glass. Liar. When the guests were gone, she opened his calendar. Empty. She called his assistant, voice trembling, casual. "What new project?" The answer came soft, cautious. He didn't mention one. Maybe he's working off record again. Off record. That phrase crawled into her mind and stayed there, gnawing at her peace. Then came Atlanta. Edward was scheduled to headline a leadership panel, a big one. But when the live stream started, his seat sat empty. Another man filled in, fumbling through the script. Wendy called. No answer. Hours later, Twitter exploded. A grainy clip of Edward at a rooftop bar, laughing too closely with two women no one recognized. Some called it coincidence. Others called it confirmation. Wendy called it the beginning of the end. 2 weeks later, an unmarked envelope appeared at her doorstep. No return address. No sender. Just a USB drive and a yellow sticky note. You deserve the truth. Her hands shook as she plugged it in. The screen flickered, blurry screenshots, money transfers, text threads, and then a photo. Edward, in disguise, entering a hotel room under another name. Her heartbeat turned into thunder. Her breath slowed, but her mind sharpened. The next morning, she walked out for a live interview, smiling for the cameras, a smile carved from control, not joy. That's when she began documenting everything. Every receipt. Every midnight call. Every encrypted email that vanished seconds after arriving. She didn't confront him this time. She collected. She studied. She prepared. And quietly, methodically, Wendy began building her case. A web of dates, locations, and names that no publicist could erase. Because if the truth was hiding in the shadows, she was ready to drag it screaming into the light. And yet, while Wendy's private world was collapsing, her public one sparkled brighter than ever. Edward, ever the performer, went on talk shows calling her the strongest woman I know. On Instagram, she smiled through the storm, posting polished photos captioned, "Grateful," "Blessed," "Focused." The fans adored it. The sponsors doubled down. The network couldn't get enough of the power couple narrative. But not everyone bought it. Her closest friend, investigative journalist Mia Hall, heard the tremor beneath the perfection. One night, Mia's voice cracked through the phone, fragile and terrified. "Wendy, I don't want to scare you, but someone's been sending me things about Edward. It's like they're begging me to tell the story before it disappears. Anonymous." Wendy whispered, "Yes." And whoever it is, they sound afraid. Minutes later, Mia forwarded a file. Confidential emails from one of Edward's companies, showing secret payouts, disguised settlements, NDAs signed by women listed only by initials. And one of those initials matched the name Wendy had already seen now. Her hands went numb. The betrayal wasn't random anymore. It was orchestrated, protected, designed to stay buried. That Sunday, she walked into church alone. No designer dress, no cameras, just silence. As the choir sang, she didn't move, didn't blink. And when the sermon ended, she whispered, "God, if he's guilty, show me." Days later, heaven answered through hell. An anonymous post hit the internet, leaked emails, bank transfers, and tax documents showing Edward had allegedly funneled personal expenses through his charity firm. The internet detonated. Reporters camped outside their home. Fans who once called him the blueprint now called him a fraud. And Wendy? She said nothing. Not a tweet. Not a quote. Instead, she posted a single black screen, no hashtags, no explanation. Just 6 words, some truths don't need to be shouted. The world erupted. Comments poured in, she knows. She's protecting her peace. She's done. And for the first time, she truly was. The last time Edward and Wendy appeared in public together, the air felt electric, not from glamour, but from tension. It was at a DC Awards gala, cameras flashing like lightning. For a split second, Edward leaned in close, whispering something sharp. Wendy flinched, stepping back just enough for the world to notice. That single moment went viral, slowed down, zoomed in, replayed by millions. Lip readers swore he said, "You'll regret this." No one could prove it. No one could deny it. The next morning, the papers were filed. Divorce. But before anyone could digest the news, Wendy vanished. No press tours. No interviews. Not even a goodbye post. Just digital silence and a growing online rumor that she wasn't done. She was preparing. Then, a month later, the internet exploded again. That 12-second clip surfaced, Wendy's trembling voice saying, it wasn't love anymore. It was survival. The world saw scandal. But those who truly knew her saw liberation, a woman shedding the skin of perfection and stepping into truth. For once, she wasn't curating her image. She was trying to breathe. But the internet doesn't let anyone breathe for long. Because within hours, online sleuths uncovered something buried in the metadata of that leaked clip, a digital breadcrumb that flipped the story on its head. And that's where Act 2 begins. It started small, a late-night Reddit post titled, "Something's Off About the Osefo Divorce." At first, no one paid attention. But within hours, it spread like wildfire. Anonymous users began dropping screenshots, voice notes, and fragments of deleted communications between Edward and his PR team. One line stood out, 4 words that set the internet ablaze: "Control the sympathy narrative." That phrase became a weapon. People debated it endlessly. Why would Edward's team need to control sympathy if he was innocent? Then came the bombshell screenshots, alleged private messages between Edward and a network executive. One read, "We can't let her talk yet. Not until the funds are cleared." The timestamp? The exact week Wendy disappeared from public view. TikTok investigators jumped into overdrive. One creator dissected Wendy's last Instagram post, zooming into a faint reflection in the mirror, a wall clock behind her. They cross-referenced the time and realized Edward was at a press event in another city at that exact hour. Suddenly, the narrative twisted again. What started as a celebrity divorce became a full-blown conspiracy. And the question echoing across the internet was chilling. Was Wendy's silence her choice or someone else's command? A YouTube video titled "Wendy's Silence Equals Protection" exploded overnight, 1 million views in less than 24 hours. The comments were chaos. Some defended Edward, typing furiously, "Stop ruining families with rumors." Others didn't hold back. This man built an empire on manipulation and lies. Then came the moment that broke the internet, the leaked audio. 2 men. A parking garage. Muffled voices and echoing footsteps. One said, "She's got the files. If those go public, he's finished." The other, calm and deliberate, "Then make sure she never does." No confirmation ever came. But fans swore one of the voices sounded too familiar, that same calculated smoothness they'd heard in Edward's interviews. That's when Mia Hall, Wendy's closest friend and the journalist who'd gone quiet for weeks, resurfaced. Her podcast, Patterns of Power, dropped at midnight. Her voice trembled, raw but defiant. "I tried to protect Wendy," she said. "But what I uncovered wasn't just infidelity. It was a system." She exposed shell companies Edward allegedly built under the guise of charity, using female employees' names to reroute money and hide transactions. She even blurred the ledgers on screen for privacy, but it was enough. The internet erupted. Hashtag Justice for Wendy trended within hours. Mainstream media stayed silent, too risky, too unverified. But online, silence meant guilt. And people began to dig. Then came another digital quake, a viral Twitter thread claiming Edward's company servers had been hacked the very night Wendy filed for divorce. The supposed hacker posted a single screenshot before vanishing into the dark web. Subject: Wendy's terms body. "If anything happens to me, release folder 19. 2 words. Folder 19. They ignited a global frenzy. Fake leaks, flooded timelines, PDFs, deepfake videos, AI-generated documents, all claiming to hold the contents. But one clip stood out, a shaky video showing a hand holding a flash drive. A woman's whisper. She knew everything. Seconds later, the clip vanished. But nothing ever dies online. Mirrors appeared everywhere, dissected frame by frame, until someone spotted a note stuck to the drive in Wendy's handwriting: insurance. That word changed everything. Suddenly, Wendy wasn't the victim. She was the strategist, the woman who saw the storm coming and armed herself with the truth. Then came Edward's grand reappearance, a press conference staged like a movie set. Perfect suit. Polished smile. Cameras flashing like gunfire. "Out of respect for my family," he said smoothly, "I will not entertain rumors. This is a private matter." But when a journalist shouted, "What about folder 19?" something slipped. His jaw tightened barely, but it was enough. That twitch became the most analyzed half-second of his life. Body language experts called it microaggression. Psychologists called it suppressed panic. YouTubers called it the face of a man cornered. For Wendy, that twitch was everything. Proof. Validation. a crack in his armor. Behind the cameras, she was already meeting investigators, quietly, through back doors, using encrypted files and private ledgers Mia helped verify. If an official probe existed, it stayed buried behind sealed court documents. But the internet didn't need paperwork. Within days, Reddit sleuths found that 3 of Edward's Foundation board members had abruptly resigned. Gossip pages began hinting, someone's talking. Then another leak surfaced, a text exchange between Wendy and Mia, dated weeks before the divorce. Mia, are you sure you're safe? Wendy, I'm safer with the truth than with him. The timestamp? The exact night she received that mysterious USB. By now, Edward's empire was imploding. Sponsors vanished. Speaking events were canceled indefinitely. His silence grew desperate, while Wendy's silence grew louder. Because in a world obsessed with control, silence can be the deadliest weapon. One viral comment summed it up perfectly. Wendy isn't hiding. She's haunting him. And then came the final twist. A new Twitter account appeared at Project Echo. It claimed to belong to a former staffer from Edward's company. Each tweet was encrypted, eerie, and precise. The third one read, "She wasn't supposed to find that." None of them were. The fourth, "If it leaks, I'm done." The tweets vanished within minutes, but screenshots spread like wildfire. And the world realized this wasn't a story anymore. It was a countdown. A reporter from the Daily Report sent the internet into meltdown when she claimed a woman resembling Wendy Osefo had been spotted entering a federal building in Baltimore, escorted, laptop in hand, no cameras allowed. Witnesses swore it was her. Speculation reached fever pitch. Was Wendy cooperating with investigators? Was Folder 19 real all along? No one knew. But then an encrypted file appeared online. Its title, 19_truth. Inside was only a single image, Wendy's reflection in a mirror, her phone in hand, her face half-shrouded in darkness. And scrawled faintly across the glass, 2 words that froze everyone in their tracks. He lied. That single frame became iconic, reposted, remixed, painted, and printed. To some, it was art. To others, it was rebellion. To her followers, it was a message. But for those who had followed every leak, that image didn't bring closure, it brought a question. If Wendy knew everything, why hadn't she spoken yet? Then, just when the storm seemed to quiet, a ghost rose from the digital ashes. A tiny, anonymous YouTube channel uploaded a recovered voicemail, allegedly from Wendy. Her voice sounded weary but firm. "They think I'm afraid. I'm not. I just need them to know. I left something behind." The timestamp? The night before she filed for divorce. In that instant, the story changed again. Infidelity, greed, betrayal, all faded into something darker. Theories spread that Wendy had planned everything, not as revenge, but as insurance. That Folder 19 wasn't proof of corruption. It was a warning. The internet echoed with one chilling line, "She left something behind." And that's when her silence stopped sounding like absence and started feeling like prophecy. Because sometimes, truth doesn't explode. It waits. And what happened next proved that waiting could be louder than any scream. When the chaos finally dimmed, silence swallowed the world. No new leaks. No sightings. No tweets. For the first time in months, Wendy vanished completely. No interviews, no appearances, not even a scroll of activity online. It was as if she had locked the door behind her and walked out of the story. But silence, for Wendy, was never weakness. It was a weapon. The internet that once shouted her name now whispered it like a code. People noticed strange shifts. Edward's accounts frozen, his foundation websites under maintenance, his top executives quietly scrubbing their LinkedIn pages. Something was happening, something unseen, like furniture being moved in the dark. Then came the email. 3 journalists received it simultaneously. Subject line, "She warned you." Attached, a 34-second audio file. It began with static, then came Wendy's unmistakable voice, calm but cold. "They wanted me quiet. So I gave them silence." But silence doesn't mean surrender. Then click. End of recording. No metadata. No trace. Experts spent days analyzing it. Some called it a deepfake. others insisted it was real. The breath between her words, the human tremor, felt too authentic to fake. The clip reignited everything. Podcasts, documentaries, theories. One YouTuber summed it up perfectly. She didn't vanish. She evolved. Silence was her message. Meanwhile, Edward reappeared, but not as the untouchable mogul he once was. A shaky courthouse video showed him gaunt, eyes hollow, muttering to reporters, "I just want peace. Peace." The irony didn't go unnoticed. 2 days later, his legal team issued a statement. He was resigning from all executive roles, effective immediately. No explanation. His final Instagram post became a digital graveyard. Comments poured in, "Peace after destruction? Did she finally win? Or did they both lose everything?" And still, Wendy remained unseen. Her house sold quietly. Her car donated to charity. One neighbor swore he saw her once, early morning, sunglasses on, notebook in hand. She looked calm, he said, like someone who'd already written the ending. But endings are rarely that clean. Because not long after, a journalist digging through Edward's financial trail found a wire transfer labeled Consulting Fee W. Osefo. Amount: $1.19 million. Date: the week she disappeared. Theories erupted. Was it hush money? Or a coded signal, 1.19, a date, perhaps January 19th, the true meaning behind folder 19? The internet spiraled again. And Wendy? Still silent. Then, one final voice returned to the conversation, Mia Hall. Her tone was steady but heavy when she finally spoke on a late-night show. I think Wendy wanted to control the ending of her story. She didn't want to be a headline. She wanted to be a question. She revealed that before vanishing, Wendy had mailed her a sealed envelope with instructions. If something happens to me, wait 90 days. Then open this. When asked what was inside, Mia only smiled faintly and said, it wasn't evidence. It was truth. And with that, the interview cut out sudden, chilling mid-sentence, as if Mia had said something she was never supposed to. Across social media, timelines turned into shrines. Influencers and fans alike began posting blank black screens every Sunday with a single caption, #ForWendy. It wasn't a trend. It was a ritual. A collective vow of silence for a woman whose quiet had become louder than the world's noise. People understood now. Wendy's silence wasn't surrender. It was strategy. Some called her disappearance the most poetic protest ever seen. Others whispered that she was waiting, gathering strength, gathering proof, preparing for a final reckoning. Then, one ordinary morning, something extraordinary happened. A new account appeared online. No profile picture. No followers. Just one post. Username at 19 Echo Post. Every truth echoes twice, once when it's spoken, once when it's remembered. And then, like a ghost, the account vanished. No trace. No digital footprint. Just screenshots spreading like wildfire. That's when the world began asking the question it had avoided all along. Was Wendy truly gone? Or had she become something greater, an idea that couldn't be silenced, only echoed? Because even in her absence, she was everywhere. Her quotes carved into art installations. Her story dissected in podcasts, whispered in college lectures, analyzed in documentaries. Her silence treated like scripture. What began as a scandal had become a study in control, a war between two people who once shared everything, now fighting over the same thing, the truth. Edward faded into shadow. No interviews. No appearances. Some said he'd fled the country. Others swore he still roamed Maryland, unrecognizable, a man haunted by the empire he built and the woman who dismantled it without saying a word. But through it all, one phrase refused to die. She left something behind. Months later, a quiet announcement shook academia. A university launched a scholarship in her name, funded by anonymous donors. Its title, The Silence Fund for Women Who Speak Through Stillness. And at the bottom of the plaque, engraved in silver, he lied. Reporters argued for weeks. Was Wendy behind it? Was it one last message from the woman who'd turned secrecy into art? No one ever proved it. When asked if Wendy would ever return, Mia only smiled softly and said, She never left. She just stopped talking. In the end, the saga of Wendy and Edward wasn't about marriage or betrayal. It was about illusion, how two people built a perfect story, and how silence, in the end, tore it apart. Because silence, when chosen, isn't weakness. It's dominion. No one will ever know if Folder 19 was real, if the files existed, or if every leak was orchestrated from the start. But one truth remains unshaken. Wendy Osefo understood what power really means. That real power doesn't roar. It disappears. It moves unseen. It waits. And in that sense, Wendy didn't vanish. She ascended. Somewhere out there, maybe she's still watching, calm, distant, notebook in hand, knowing the world is still obsessed with a mystery she already solved. Because truth doesn't need to shout. It just needs to wait. And when it finally speaks, everyone listens. But as the echoes fade, one final question refuses to die. Was Wendy's silence her peace, or her punishment?